Jon Jones has been given some heavy praise by the UFC heavyweight champion Francis Ngannou, who claims that his substantial utilization of spinning elbows and oblique kicks has assisted in redefining MMA. Although Ngannou is likely the most dangerous fighter in mixed martial arts right now, the UFC heavyweight champion feels Jon is still the strongest all-around warrior in his division currently. But is he right? Stay tuned to find out. Why is Jones often considered the GOAT? Jones is widely regarded as one of the finest fighters in the history of MMA and is recognized for more than just his strikes. He also excels at wrestling, grappling, and even submissions. These traits are all part of Jones's complete package. One of the main reasons Jones is regarded as an MMA icon is his versatility and adaptability in any situation in the octagon. But let's talk about what makes him such an excellent fighter: unmatched reach. This is certainly the most evident factor that has contributed to Jones' success in the ring. Jones has an 84.5-inch reach, which is roughly 10 inches longer than almost all of his opponents. With a stiff jab or a straight right, he can hold just about all of his rivals at bay, making some of the division's most ferocious attackers look like amateurs. His unique fighting style. It's one thing to have above average reach, it's another thing to be able to use it to one's advantage. Consider Antonio Bigfoot Silva, who has a reach advantage of around 4 inches across most of his opponents. Silva has been knocked out 5 times in his career despite his amazing reach. One of those instances came when Silva faced Daniel Cormier, a man who gave Silva an 11-inch reach advantage. Jones, on the other hand, has made the most of his advantages. He doesn't take them for granted by letting himself be used as a punching bag for any opponent, regardless of size. As previously said, he is skilled enough to realize that a stiff jab and a good straight right will be enough to get his opponents to miss. His ability and ingenuity as a striker, though, are what catapult him to a level above all others. It's fantastic to have a good jab. It's preferable to have a firm, straight-standing elbow, which is obviously much better. And, as much as many dislike his controversial but perfectly legal oblique kicks, know that he has those as well. A superior wrestling technique. While his revolutionary strikes may be enough to propel him to new heights, it is his National Junior College Athletic Association wrestling style that has empowered him to do so. Because he knows few fighters inside the cage can continuously put him on his back, he's comfortable with firing countless oblique kicks and spinning back kicks. But he doesn't only have the assurance that he won't be brought down, he also has the gratification of knowing that he can force the majority of his opponents to the mat. Simply question Rashad Evans or Vladimir Matyushenko how impossible it was to not just defeat Jones, but also to prevent him from defeating you. Confidence. Jones might come across as cocky or arrogant depending on the situation, but he celebrates those who admire his self-assurance while dismissing those who think he's arrogant. But what else can one expect from a man who hasn't even been properly tested? Because even after being put to the test and demonstrating to the public how he's able to handle the world's stiffest competition, Jones never loses confidence in the octagon. Of course, he has no cause to be anything else. Jones's confidence, similar to Silva's intangible aura during his epic middleweight title reign, is what gives him the edge. A whole lot of untapped potential. Jones is similar to Goku from the famous anime series Dragon Ball in that he always seems to attain a higher level each time he trains, and he keeps growing better and better after each bout. This demonstrates that he possesses a level of capability that very few can match, as well as a set of attacks that very few can counter and wrestling skills that few can match. But that's hardly the most terrifying aspect about Jones's abilities. While some fighters hit their prime and begin to resemble inferior forms of themselves with every new appearance in the octagon, Jones continues to improve. He appeared to be the dominant fighter when he went up against Shogun Rua to win the championship, and he's continued to appear unbeatable since then. We probably haven't even seen the best of him yet. Francis Ngannou versus Jon Jones? Jones hopes to go up from light heavyweight to battle the French Cameroonian for the UFC heavyweight title, and Ngannou claims he hasn't given up hope of one day fighting him. The Albuquerque native Jones dominated the 205-pound class for a decade, and Ngannou considers Jones to be one of the most gifted fighters of his generation. He has continuously showcased his never-ending talent over the course of time. Jones isn't the only fighter Ngannou looks forward to fighting. Ngannou also thinks that heavyweight competitor Ciryl Gane seems to be the greatest kickboxer in MMA today, which is surprising. Former trading partners Ngannou and Gane will fight for the undisputed UFC heavyweight championship at UFC 270 next month. Even though Ngannou thinks that Gane seems to be the greatest kickboxer, he still has his eye on the prize and plans on bringing the UFC heavyweight championship back to Cameroon. Ngannou and boxing. Ngannou has also expressed his excitement at the idea of putting an end to the hype surrounding Ciryl Gane. During the deadlock over his UFC contract, he is also considering a shocking transition to boxing and also has challenged Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder. Following a public spat with Dana White over a variety of topics, he has asked that a boxing clause be included in his next contract. He's definitely determined to cause some serious damage to a heavyweight boxing opponent and is eager to put himself to the test at the highest level. Boxing may not be the same sport as mixed martial arts, but Ngannou is the champion and and the best in his division, according to him and according to the people who have seen him fight. After all, boxing is mostly about throwing hands, punches, and having a competent delivery mechanism to deliver those bombs to the opponent. Let's just hope he doesn't suffer the same fate as Conor McGregor when he went against Floyd Mayweather. Other MMA news: Sean O'Malley ridicules Marlon Vera. Sean O'Malley, a UFC bantamweight, has reacted to Marlon Vera's criticism of a video of Sugar handing away money to strangers. The conflict between O'Malley and Vera has been well documented over the last year and a half. The rivalry began in August 2020 when they fought inside the octagon at UFC 252. The Ecuadorian defeated O'Malley in the first round, handing him his first loss. Since then, the two have exchanged insults on media platforms and also in the press, with Vera accusing O'Malley of dodging a rematch last year. The latest exchange occurred after Sugar displayed his humanitarian side in a YouTube video. While many commended O'Malley for donating $100 to those in need, Chito had a different perspective. He called O'Malley a piece of blank for documenting the nice act on Twitter. O'Malley's response: as you might anticipate, O'Malley immediately replied to his opponent's remarks. The Montana native bashed Vera, claiming that he would not have given back to the people as often as he has. Despite his fellow bantamweight's assessment, O'Malley said that Vera revealed his true colors by opposing his video and said that he still felt happy considering his charitable initiative. O'Malley has been at his best since his loss against Vera. Sugar won 3 fights in 2021, recording 3 finishes, 3 post-fight bonuses, and breaking into the top 15 bantamweights. With Chito on a similar rampage, having defeated Davey Grant and Frankie Edgar, it appears that the pair may have a rematch in the near future. O'Malley has already stated that a rematch is likely, and with both continuing to rise through the ranks, it's difficult to see them not fighting again in the ring. Dana White discusses Nate Diaz's UFC future. Dana White talks about the wake of procuring Nate Diaz's next UFC fight, which will be the last of his current contract. Some would argue that this isn't terribly assertive, but until it really occurs, it will appear improbable simply because the UFC hasn't faced a challenge like this since the past 10 years. The year has never kicked off with a number of key UFC stars on the verge of free agency. McGregor's contract only allows him to fight 2 more times. Diaz possesses 1. If Ngannou loses to Gane at UFC 270, he might become a free agent. It's possible that at least one of them, if not more, will leave the UFC in 2022. Ngannou has all but stated that he would box at some point in the future, and that time may come sooner rather than later. With all that said, it's still uncertain. If that's going to happen, this is the year to do it, with the aforementioned names likely commanding a high price tag. To be honest, having Diaz or Ngannou boxing before 2022 would still be a total surprise. Conor McGregor may return soon. Since 2016, McGregor has only won once. That victory over Donald Cowboy Cerrone, for example, hasn't aged well. However, it's important to remember what McGregor contributes to the UFC financially. Even though he's lost back-to-back fights to Dustin Poirier by finish, he's still the greatest athlete in the promotion's history. Even when he's recovering from a fractured leg sustained in a fight with Poirier in July, there doesn't appear to be an obvious successor to succeed McGregor. So, despite his dreadful previous track record, McGregor's prospects of winning the title are little to none. Thanks for sticking around till the end of the video. If you liked watching our content, please leave a like, share, and subscribe to our channel.